Well, again, I got the last two of this Frog Planet Series 2. We'll save a video for the special chase later. So today we have the Phylomedusa bicolor and the Bufo japonicus. Alright, let's open these because I had one broken. Oddly, the most stout one, I had the leg broken inside this foam, so I want to make sure these things aren't messed up. There's a small little thin plastic bag to keep it from getting scratched up by the foam. That's a pretty nice looking tree. It's got some shapes to hold the frog on. And then be careful pulling this out because it's got delicate appendages. Alright. So that one seems intact. Let me get this box out of here. Then we'll see how this one is packaged. A lot of foam. I'm really shocked that this one has at least this bubble wrap to keep it from shifting around. And this one, oh my, this is the biggest one from the series. It is heavy. That could kill someone if you threw it at someone. Alright, so that one seems intact as well. So that's good to know. This will come later. So this is known as the giant leaf frog, or also the bicolor tree frog, or the giant monkey frog, or the waxy monkey tree frog. There's a lot of different names. It can grow to, let's see, up to 119 millimeters. So the male's only 103 millimeters. This one happens to be around 55 millimeters long. So I guess it's kind of a juvenile frog here. Alright. So these are rainforest tree frogs. They lay eggs on leaves, and the leaves the eggs hatch into tadpoles, and they fall into the water and grow into frogs eventually. Okay, but a lot of things prey on these, the eggs also. That's good enough for the photos. And let me just change the camera angle here. Get better light. So looking at the frog itself, the bottom is a very dark green, and these are rigid, so be careful. It's got the shapes to go into the tree. It's got some white splotches on the bottom. It's got kind of an angry, or yeah, like a really annoyed face. It's like, I'm really annoyed. Don't talk to me right now. Very funny. The eyes are quite nice. They're glossy, very glossy, the black and the white, but the body is very matte finish. You can see there's almost no reflection of my square LED above us, whereas the eye, well, unfortunately it's white, it's hard to tell. Alright, so then we have some darker splotches here, and there's some fading. The greens fade quite a bit, so maybe some airbrushing going on. There's probably some sort of base light green color, and they airbrushed a darker green in spots, and then even a darker green. So it looks good. I like it. You know, it looks kind of real, but very cartoony at the same time. So then, yeah, we have a metal rod here, and that's going to get it in there. I think it's going to be a pretty tight fit anyways, but I'm going to put some poster putty because I don't ever want that to fall out. Knowing they're rigid plastic, you know, I don't ever want that thing to drop, either piece, because it's going to just shatter like ceramic. So hopefully just a tiny bit of this putty will fill in any sort of gaps that there might be, and then there we go. So you'll see it's still quite gappy back here, but I'm going to press it down. But bear in mind, you don't want to press or lever it too much. You might snap off the toes. Maybe I put too much in this side. Yeah, you know. Yeah, you know, for some reason, this side just doesn't want to sit. This side will sit tight, but this side seems pretty gappy, even without this putty. Let me just try it without the putty. You know, ideally maybe you just want to glue it in place. Yeah, then it'll never come out. But I guess if you ship it, I don't know if, you know, this thing will shift and break off the fingers if you put it into a shipping box. Yeah, that will not go any tighter. So that's actually kind of poorly designed. It's almost like this wants to be shorter, or that hole wants to be deeper. I don't see any errors or extra flash in there, so that doesn't sit right. not at all. It wants to sit tighter. Hold on, I might have to do something. I have to sand that down a little bit. Well, I sanded off some, but I don't think that's the problem. That's not the length of this. I think this trapezoid is too wide. It's too big for that hole. Or basically that hole is not big enough to accept the trapezoid. So I think the trapezoid is bottoming out on the sides right now. And you simply can't get it tighter unless you literally move like part of that plane. But then you're going to run the risk of scratching up all that paint. So it's very loose the way it is. I'm gonna crazy glue this in place because it's gonna fall and this is gonna shatter and stuff, so it's not good. So what it is, I just put a bunch of crazy glue on all sides of those recesses and then put it in. And when I was doing it, I noticed there were step lines inside of those recesses. So I think this could have been 3D printed originally, the first prototype, but which makes me really wonder why that opening is not bigger if it was done in a CAD program. They should have mated them in a CAD program to realize. I guess one neat thing with that offset is this hand isn't actually touching this. It's like as if it was about to jump somewhere. What doesn't make sense is the rear just floating in air like that. But it would take too much modification to make it look better. So anyways, we're going to leave that alone. Let's move on. So the Japanese common toad here is it's a big one. It can grow up to 17.5 centimeters from the snout to the vent, which is the back end there. This one is around 8.5 centimeters long, so it's like halfway grown, I suppose. But boy, is this heavy. This is like a baseball. It's heavier than a baseball, I would guess, actually. So yeah, just a solid chunk of resin, and then you can see these lines to help separate the hand painting process to try to clean that up. Nice big toes there. Those would really be the only parts that could possibly break off very easily. Even these are kind of protected by the leg. A lot of warts, funky brown spots, this lighter brown on the front limbs, and then it looks like a little airbrushing happened here on the mouth. And then the eyes are crazy because there's like 4 segments to them. And it's very glossy. You can see the sharp edge of my square LED, and they also have this white reflection on there as well. And the eye is like fading, you know, like an orange on top of a lighter orange. So that's really, really cool. The nostril also has some black paint in there. You don't get that in most of these figures, painted nostrils. The tympanum there, the ear area, a whole bunch of weird warts, bumps, kind of gross. It is a toad after all, right? The body is kind of semi-gloss. It's not matte, but it's definitely not as reflective as the glossy eye. Alright, well, it's the biggest and kind of the lamest of the collection. But, alright, we'll leave it as it is. This toad is very hardy. It goes into hibernation when the temperature drops to 6 Celsius. So that's really cold, and then it'll hibernate. And it pretty much lives everywhere in Japan. Islands, the mainlands, all parts. It's a very hardy species, so it's under no threat of extinction. It's the least concerned kind of animal. So, alright. These are the 2 from today. So stay tuned, and I'll get that Secret Chase one out there, and then I'll try to show the whole collection. It's quite huge. These are big figures. Like, look at this thing. Alright, well anyways, we'll see you in the next frog video.